In this video, I'm going to go over all things calendars. In NextLevel, you have your own dedicated calendar. Consider that to be your account calendar or your business calendar for your insurance business. But this video is very important. We get a lot of troubleshooting requests. A lot of our tickets that get submitted or requests for help come in from calendar issues often. So pay attention to this video. Make sure that as you're watching this video and the other, at least the initial quick start videos, that you have your NextLevel account open and that you're making sure that you're familiarizing yourself and getting it set up the way you want. But to see your calendar, you just click on calendars here. Now we create a calendar for you by default when your account is created. So you already have a calendar. And I'll show you more about the links there. It's going to say something like insurance consultation with custom values user full name. That custom values piece will auto input your full name, so you don't need to touch that if you don't want to. But if you have appointments on your calendar and they're not showing here, one common issue is that you need to make sure that your user and your calendar are selected here. So when you actually have an account, this is a dummy account here, you're gonna have a user here as well. Just make sure it's selected, because if it's not, you won't see your appointments. We have people reaching out saying, I can't see my appointments. Well, just make sure you're toggling this on. And the reason why you have to toggle it on is because you technically can have more than one calendar in your account. Maybe you have a full team or something like that and everybody has a different calendar. Most of our users aren't really set up like that, so you don't need to worry about it, but just make sure you're toggled on here. Now, there's a few ways to book appointments on your calendar. One, as you see here right on the calendar page, you could click New. You'll see this window pop up. And you're going to see that's on the calendar that you have here. You can title the appointment whatever you want. In fact, probably just title it insurance consultation or something. Note here that under showing time slots in this time zone, this is actually going to be the default time zone for your account. So, just be mindful of that. It's going to default this to your account. So if you're booking a time, be mindful that it's your time. Up here under contacts, you're going to see, once you select a contact, their time zone listed, and it'll show, the difference between what your time is versus theirs, because all of the automations and reminders for appointments, for them is going to show it in their time. For you, it's going to show it in your time. So it already takes care of time zones. Sometimes people get confused. Is that in my time zone there? It's both. If you get a notification that you have an appointment in an hour, that's your time zone. If they get an appointment, or I have an appointment at 8 a.m., that's your time zone. If they get a notification that the appointment's at 8 a.m., that's going to be their time zone, and so forth. Now, let me quickly note here that if you want to block off time on your calendar because maybe you're going on vacation or something, you can always click blocked off time, go select your calendar, and then you can choose the times that you want blocked off. Later in this video, I'm going to show you how you can also connect a Google, iCloud, Outlook, those kinds of calendars, so that if you have times blocked off on those calendars, other appointments, doctor's appointments, whatever it is, your NextLevel account will see those appointments and will not allow you to book over those times. So if you're used to using Outlook or Google or something like that, or iCloud, and you don't want, and you're using that for some things, and you want to connect it here, your system won't allow appointments to be booked over that time. But you can also block off times right here within NextLevel as well. If you want to see a full list of your appointments, you can click up here at appointments and it'll show all of your appointments. So this is just kind of a nice view to see appointments on your schedule. If you want to edit your calendar, and I recommend you go in here and take a look even as we watch this video. So click calendar settings. And I'm going to show you how you can set your own availability. Everybody works a little bit different hours, so you're going to set your calendar availability as well as see some other things here. So like I mentioned, we already created a calendar for you. You're going to see it here. You can really disregard these options here. That's more advanced. You could have certain rooms, equipment, like this could be, you have an office space and you have multiple calendars that are attached to different equipment in different rooms. So just disregard all this stuff. You don't need to worry about that. If you ever wanted to create a new calendar, you can do that here. We're doing event-based calendars. You can look at these and see that there's different calendar types. We do events just because it's a little simpler for mass setup for everyone. But you can create new calendars. By default, if you have one calendar and one automation for your prospects for that calendar, which I'll show you here in a minute. You know, most agents that I talk to like to do kind of a 2-call sales process. They do like a discovery call and then a pitch call. We don't have a discovery calendar and a pitch calendar. You could create it that way if you wanted to. I do recommend you jump on a support call by going to the support tab in NextLevel. Get on our calendar if you want to set up additional calendars, just because there's a few moving pieces in the background that you might not want to mess something up. So unless you feel confident doing it, you can go for it, but I'm happy to help you if you want to jump on a support call, and I can, if you want to help you, I can help you set up additional calendars. So to adjust the settings, including your main calendar availability, we're going to click these 3 dots right here and click edit. Now we can edit your main calendar here. And you'll see that there are a lot of customizations you can make. You can add a calendar logo. You can change the calendar name. You can add a description. Honestly, the more professional details that you can add here, the better. We don't really create a whole lot of things for you in here. Most of the agents don't do this, but I always recommend, hey, you know, be thoughtful about your platform. Be thoughtful about how you're reaching out to your prospects. You might want to write a description about how you're going to help them. It's totally up to you. A lot of agents aren't doing that, and they're doing just fine, but just a little bit of a recommendation on my part. Now you can see you can adjust colors and all kinds of things like that. If you wanted to do a meeting location and you do all your meetings on Zoom, you can add your Zoom location here if you want to do that. Now we're going to go over here to availability. This is your default calendar availability. Now it's not your personal availability necessarily, and I'll explain that here in a second. But this is your default calendar availability. These are your operating hours. So I recommend go in here right now and adjust your working hours on your calendar here. After you do that, so you can pause the video if you're working on that and then resume. But after you do that, there's a few other things I'll point out here. One is there's a look busy feature. So if you don't have a lot of appointments on your calendar, you can come in here and toggle this on, and this will hide X amount of slots, and there's some additional information here. So if you want to look busy, or if you're trying to communicate a sense of urgency, hey, my calendar fills up quickly, let's get you on, time's running out, all that kind of stuff, you can go in here and this will hide a percentage of your available appointment slots on the booking widget to appear busier and in high demand. So that's an option there. If it's a reoccurring meeting, like, well, this would be, yeah, I'm not going to talk about that right now. You can set reoccurring meetings, but I'd probably do that under automations. If you ever have like a team meeting and you want notifications going out Wednesday morning, right an hour before your appointment, through your system to your entire team, get on a support call and I can show you how to set all that up. Meeting intervals. So reflects the amount of time between booking slots that will be shown in the calendar. Meeting duration, 30 minutes. Minimum scheduling notice. This one's important. So take note here. Some people complain, hey, someone just booked on my calendar for like 30 minutes from now. I'm not even home right now. I always recommend doing like maybe a couple hours here. So you can consider maybe doing a couple hours minimum scheduling notice so that people can't book too quickly. But I don't turn that on for people because there's differences of opinion. Date range. This one's important as well. You don't really want people booking sales calls a month out. They're going to forget about it. The likelihood of them actually showing up to that appointment is not going to be very high. So booking, I recommend somewhere between 5 to 10 days max. I set it by 10 just to give the users some flexibility there. I don't want to impose kind of my philosophy on everyone when we create these accounts. But date range, this is going to allow events to be scheduled out no more than 10 days out. Some people do shorter, 4 or 5 days. So just think through that. Oftentimes, the longer the appointment is out from today, it's going to be less likely that you're going to convert. Maximum bookings per day. Maybe you don't want more than a certain amount of appointments per day. Bookings per slot, depending on your lead type, your lead cost, your own philosophy. I know final expense agents, sometimes they'll double, even triple book appointments in a time. So, if you're working private health and you're spending more on leads, you might not necessarily want to do that, but you can adjust the maximum bookings per slot. So you could book 2 people in the same slot. And I don't really mess with pre-buffer and post-buffer time, but you can look at those if you want. Forms and payments. I'm going to explain your default calendar form here in a minute, but you don't need to worry about anything with payments or any of this stuff. We auto load this consent. This makes you compliant so that if your first contact with the lead is just booking an appointment, you're getting their one-to-one consent to you to reach out to them. Notifications and additional options. This is really set up in a way that is not the way your account's going to be set up if you wanted to use these features. I would just leave all this the way it is here. You can decide if you want to allow your prospects to reschedule or cancel your appointments. It's on by default. If you want to turn that off, you can turn it off here. Connections. If this connection only works on a Google Calendar. So if you want to link your Google Calendar, I would do it now so you don't forget. Go to settings down here on your account. And you may have already done this, but if not, then go to integrations. And right here, you want to link your Google account. So sign in with Google and link your account. It's going to ask if you want to connect it to a business. You can disregard and close out once you do that. So if you haven't done this, do it now. Sign in with Google, connect your Google account. I recommend that you do this anyway. There's some other functionality with Google, such as being able to push data from your account to Google Sheets, which is very convenient for certain things, tracking sales and things like that. But I would connect your Google account. Next, after you do that, go back to your calendar settings. Go back to edit, and then under connections, click and link your calendar there and hit save. And that will link your external calendar. And if you see options on there or anywhere in your account that asks for a two-way sync, a lot of people think two-way sync, that's the way I want it because it's gonna read my calendar and stuff. That's actually not what you want. If you have two-way sync on, if someone goes and books on your Google, or like you schedule something on your Google that's not part of NextLevel, it'll actually create that contact record in NextLevel. Most people don't want that. And so I wouldn't turn on two-way sync. Customizations, you can change the way your calendar looks, some of the colors and stuff here. Calendar cover image. So if you want to play with all that, you certainly can. Okay, lots of information here. But this is going to be really important to making sure that your calendar is set up the way you want. Right here, and this is important, this is an important part of this video. We already went to your availability here. This is your default calendar availability. However, if you go to your My Staff section, you can do it under My Staff. I'm logging into Mindy's account just to kind of show. And you can adjust your availability here. Now this is your personal availability. Okay, so I mentioned that there's personal availability and your calendar. Now, at this point in the video, if you're like, hey, I'm good, I'm set my availability on my calendar, I don't want to mess with anything else, you can totally just leave it alone and kind of disregard this small piece of the video here. But all I want to point out is that, and in fact, I'm going to go over to my profile because it'll also show it here. See here that there's a calendar under my profile. You can actually link your calendar here. If you do that, then your personal availability will override. So if you come down and mess with your availability here, Mindy's account is 12 a.m. to 12 a.m. That's perfect because she's using the availability on her calendar. But if you're like, if you wanted to leave your availability on your calendar wide open, but adjust your personal availability here, that's another way to do it. I don't mean to confuse you. All it is you have availability set for a particular calendar and your personal availability, and your personal availability can override it. The reason for this is because depending on the structure of your organization, you could technically have a main sales calendar, but multiple users attached to that calendar, and each individual user would need to update their own availability so that nothing on that shared calendar would book them times that they couldn't take. So you can totally leave your account like this if you just want to use the calendar availability, but if you just want to leave that open and use this one, this works well too. This is might be even easier, quicker for you to get to, because you just go to settings and my profile, you can easily come here. So just wanted to give you a couple options. Just make sure that your calendar is selected and connected to you if that's what you want to do there. Now, additionally, you're going to see in this section calendar configuration. And look, you can link different calendars. So if you wanted to link your Google or other Outlook or iCloud, I think Calendly is a new feature too. So if you're a Calendly user, you can also use that. I don't really recommend using Calendly if you're using NextLevel, because NextLevel is going to have much more functionality and connection to your leads than your Calendly ever would. You can also add a conflict calendar. So if you wanted to check additional conflicts, like maybe you have multiple calendars or whatever. Now, if you would have connected this already in the settings of your calendar itself, you don't need to worry about doing it here, but you can add it and add other calendars here. So that's a little bit about availability and linking your calendars here in this section. And in fact, I kind of skipped over this, but under calendar settings, connected calendars, you can add, and this will show it, Google, Outlook, iCloud, and there it is, Calendly. This is in beta. So, and then if you do more advanced stuff like Zoom, you can do that here. Okay, now I mentioned earlier that I showed you one way of how to book appointments, because at this point you're wondering, okay, how do I book an appointment, and what happens when I book an appointment? I showed you how you can book an appointment here, and I'll show you one other way. If you go to Contacts and you click on a contact, you can also book an appointment right up here. And this is probably, honestly, if you're booking an appointment for someone, this is perhaps, you're likely going to be in their contact record, chatting with them already. This is probably the fastest way to do it. Is you just go to appointments and you click add, and you can book an appointment with them here. So that's the quick way to do that within contacts. If you want to share your link with someone so that they can book an appointment on your calendar, if you go back to calendars, click on calendar settings. So this is the view that we saw earlier to edit your calendar. When you click this action drop down, we went to edit before, but you'll notice here there's a share link. You can grab this share link here, and this agent calendar 12, you can customize that if you just go to edit. But if you go to copy and you share this calendar with someone, when they click on that link, this is what they're going to see. They're going to see this window, any sort of customizations that you made. They're going to be able to select a time, and it's going to default to their time zone. So it's all going to recognize their own time zone, and it's going to default. They're going to hit select, and then they're going to fill in their information here. Insurance consultation, the date, time. They're going to put in this information and then schedule meeting. They can even add a guest if they want. Now that's one way to share your calendar link. Notice how the link isn't very pretty. Now there's a couple ways you could make these kinds of links in your account better looking. One way would be to go to business profile settings and add a branded domain. So you would need to go into your DNS records and add this, or this may do it automatically if you try. So you can, it may have been updated, but you can click add domain and you can do a branded domain. So if it's like healthinsurancepro.com / and then it'll have your calendar thing, or it would look kind of like this, but it would say healthinsurancepro.com. That's one way to make that better. However, really the simplest way is if you go to your website, so everybody gets a default agent website, and you go to websites here, so sites, websites, you're gonna see your agent website. And here we have a default calendar page created for you. And if you signed up and you don't have a domain connected to your NextLevel account, we provide one for you. It'd be something like nextlevelinsuranceadvisors.com. Come in here and hit this little icon, and it'll show the new website link that you have, and it's much more readable. It looks a lot more professional. It would say something like nextlevelinsuranceadvisors.com / your name and calendar. That's a much nicer link to share. And then if you do have your own domain and you connect it to your account, which we have another video on domains, you can see I even have this connected here. So you can change the domain that's connected here and then just go and take a look at it. I do recommend going to settings. So back to these three dots and hitting settings. Hit settings, and then you can change your calendar path here to make it look better if you don't like the way it looks on the end of your URL. So that's really the best way to share your calendar link, is through your own web page. It just looks a lot better. This one, I don't think it's connected, but it's gonna have all your information, your business name, all of your details here, NPN, all this stuff, and your calendar. It just looks a lot more professional if you share that link. So that's what I recommend for sharing your calendar link. One note on that though is always test it first, because sometimes when you're sending a contact a text message, the carriers, for unknown reasons, don't like certain links being texted. So you may want to just test it, throw the full link in there, whatever it is. I'm going to mess this up, but mywebsite.com, and test it, send it, and make sure it actually sends, because sometimes they just don't send and you may need to adjust it. So by sending your other link that I showed you how to send, or you can use like a tiny URL or one of those services that will shorten your URL. But just make sure and that goes for any links that you ever want to test. Like if you're sending out links in your automations and things like that, just know that sometimes they don't work. So you want to always check that and make sure it works. Okay, so what happens when you book? What gets sent to the prospect? What kind of notifications happen in your account? That can be found under automation. So under automation here, you'll see in your account an appointment confirmation reminders workflow. What this is anytime someone books on your calendar, it does a series of actions. One, it turns off your AI, adds an appointment booked tag, it removes them from your main drip campaign, and so on and so forth. If you want to come in here and see what text messages are sent to your prospects, you can do that here. So this is the first text message that gets sent when someone books an appointment. This is a confirmation of our insurance overview call on this time. Notice that this language is generic, so if you're running life insurance or health insurance, it works for both. Here's a quick overview of what we'll cover: your current insurance situation, explore options if you need new or better coverage, answer any questions you have. You can customize all this. If you're like, I don't like any of this stuff, I want to word it different, go in here and customize it. Just make sure you hit save when you're done. Totally fine to do that. The reason why we built this out is we wanted to reduce no-shows on your appointments. And this is prime real estate. And a lot of people don't think about this. When you have someone book an appointment, they may forget the value of why they're going to talk to you. And so when I mean prime real estate is you have an opportunity to send them an appointment confirmation text and email and reminders. And if you just have a base text that says, hey, this is a reminder that our call's tomorrow at 9 a.m. That's cool, but why not provide a little bit more reason why, just another motivation, of why they're going to speak with you. Because no shows can happen a lot in the sales world. And so this is a huge way to try to reduce that no-show, is to provide value, take advantage of the real estate in your text and emails to explain to them again why they're going to meet with you, what you're going to discuss, and what this is about. Sometimes people forget why even they're going to talk to you. Oh, something about insurance, I don't remember. Remind them that what you're going to do on your call. So when they book an appointment, your prospect is going to get an email. You can see this is a email action. They're going to get a text action. It's going to remind you, it's going to send you a text message that you have an insurance booking confirmed. If you ever want to customize those messages to yourself, you can do that. It's going to wait 24 hours before the appointment, send them another text and email. It's going to wait 1 hour before the appointment, another text and email. This one is actually going to try to confirm the appointment with you. Respond C to confirm the time still works. If you can't make it, please respond with X. Again, you can customize this. Just know that it might mess up some of these if they're not responding with C or X. So if you need help customizing this, jump on a support call. You're going to wait for them to confirm up until 10 minutes before the appointment. If they don't confirm, you're going to get a notification that they didn't confirm. If they do, they're going to say, or if they don't, if they need to reply, you're going to send them a reschedule link. If they need to reschedule, if they confirm the appointment, you're going to say thanks for confirming. Just go through and look all these text messages and emails. If you have any questions or need some customization, just reach out. But this is how everyone gets notified that there's an appointment when they book on your calendar. Now, we also have an appointment no-show automation. The appointment no-show automation is right here. And there's a couple ways to trigger this automation, and you'll see it here. One, you can move your appointment status to no-show. So you'll see when you have an appointment booked in your calendar, if you click on the appointment, there'll be a status thing. And if you move it to no-show, it'll move them to this campaign. You can also move them in your pipeline stage, no-show appointment. So I'll show you that here in a sec. Or you can add a no-show tag. And what this does is this basically tries to get them to reschedule with you. Looks like I missed you. I know life happens and things come up. Waits 12 hours, sends another one. Waits 26 hours, sends another one. This is actually a cool image. Let's see if I can pull this up. So when someone books with you, or when someone no-shows you, this third text is actually going to send them this funny image, and it's going to say looking for, and it's actually going to put their name here. Looking for Dan, looking for Sarah, who needs insurance, who missed our appointment, I haven't heard from since. Really nice, personalized, customized thing. We use this service that does those, and you can find that. You can find some of those customizations if you go down to dynamic images, and there's more here if you ever wanted to put these in any of your messages, or if you ever want us to create something for you, we can do it. So here's like appointment no-shows right here. So it customizes these. You can grab this link and put it in your automation, and it will auto input the contact's name for you in those. So really nice there. But just make sure you familiarize yourself with those automations in your account, the appointments, the no-shows. Take some time to learn really all the automations in your account, because there's so much that you can customize. So we love to see users take full advantage of their accounts. I'll note here too that if you're using the NextLevel AI, the AI will actually book appointments for you, and it's on by default in most accounts. So if someone responds to one of your drip campaign, the AI will jump in and it will book on your calendar. It reads your calendar availability, proposes times, and it'll book appointments for you. And it'll actually add a tag to a contact record that says that AI booked an appointment for you. I think you'll get a confirmation text as well, just letting you know that your AI is working for you. So really cool feature there. Okay, we are almost done with this video. I know it's a long one, but again, I just wanted you to really know all the ins and outs of how calendars are set up and how they work. It's really powerful. And two last things here. One is, if you're ever like, hey, someone booked on my calendar, but they shouldn't have been able to, 99% of the time, it's your availability was not updated. It's usually not a system error. Your availability wasn't updated. There is this really cool feature in here. If you go to calendars and calendar settings, and you want to see what's available on your calendar, what's blocked off, and everything, you can actually come right here and go to troubleshoot calendar. And this will actually show you, like you can see grayed out here, that it's not available. It's not available in calendar settings. These days are not available because I have that 10-day max booking window set, so you're not going to see anything past 10 days. But you can come in here and see what a user would see based on their time zone, and you can adjust this. And so if you're like, hey, I think I blocked something out of my calendar, I want to make sure it's blocked off for real, come in here and see if it's blocked off. It'll tell you if it's blocked off, or tell you why it might not be on your calendar. So really nice feature there to see what's going on with your calendar and to troubleshoot your calendar. Okay, and last thing here. You know, I showed you what it looked like when someone went to book and then they had to fill in their contact information when they're booking an appointment with you. There's some of our users that want to customize that form. So for example, maybe you want to continue to pre-qualify or gather some information prior to taking your appointment. Maybe you're doing health insurance and you want to gather, do you have any health conditions, prescriptions, doctors that we need covered? You can collect that when they're booking an appointment from you if you want. And to do that, you would go to Edit, Forms and Payments, and you can change that default form there. So if you're like, hey, I want to do more, I want to ask more questions of them when they're booking an appointment with me, you can select a different form. And you can see we have a couple in your account already. But if you want to customize that form or create a new one altogether, you would do that under Sites. And we have another video on forms and surveys, so you might want to go check that out. But go to Sites and Forms, and you can create a form in here. You know, we have this health intake form that's really basic, nothing special in here, so I recommend you probably update this. But you can go in here and customize all this. We have a whole video that shows you how to do this. It's really simple. And then you can connect it to your calendar so you can ask more questions prior to your appointment. So really nice feature. I know this is a long video. We're 30 minutes into this video. So hopefully you're not pulling your hair out. It's really not too complicated. I just wanted to really show you all that goes on with the calendar so that you can get the most use of it. If you want to explore more resources around calendars or you have additional questions, you can always, again, book a support call with us. You can also go to this support library and you'll see all kinds of helpful articles about all kinds of topics. So if you're like, I want to study more calendar stuff, we have all kinds of stuff in here about calendars. So if you have a particular question, anything at all, there's lots and lots of resources in here to help you get the most out of it. So take advantage of that.